Hi, my name is Bettina and I am an art quilter, and this is my studio. And today I want to talk about how I made this piece of fabric art. This is a collaged piece, and I will go step by step on how I made something like this. You can follow along and make something like this yourself. Okay. You can see the rest of my quilts I've done on Instagram at Bettina_arts. And this is the first part of the quilting process, and it is to get a photo. And this photo was AI generated of a great horned owl. I asked AI to make it look National Geographic style of a great horned owl with round eyes. Rounder eyes. I did not want the fierce looking eyes that you typically see on an owl. I think the eyes still look kind of fierce with this, but it is what an owl looks like. And I think that the detail that AI generated was great. And I don't have to worry about copyright because this is an AI generated photo. Now, look at all the different variations of color and texture and decide how much detail I want to include in my quilt. Usually I do like more detail in these quilts, but this time I decided I am going to do less detail. I'm teaching a class on this particular photo, and it's a 6-hour class, so I don't want too much detail. I would like some of the students to be able to complete some of these, some of the quilts in the group, although I don't think in 6 hours that you're going to be able to complete the whole thing, but at least you'll have a good idea on how we make these quilts. So you can see the first, I have acetate paper, and the acetate paper is bought at an office supply store. The owl print was printed here in my home on a home computer. You can go to the store Kinko's and you can show them your photo that you want, and they will color photograph it. So next I go through with my micron pen, black, and I start tracing around the owl, picking up the details. And you can see here's the kind of like little feathers I'm putting in there, coming down. And here's a different color that I might want to pick up here, but I'm not going to pick up all these different little colors that I normally would, because like I said, it is the class that I'm teaching this for. And so we don't want to go into too much detail, but enough to make this owl look more professional, in my opinion. So I'm going in with a little black, and see how I'm not like paying too much attention to the lines. You don't have to go with all the detail of these little lines that you see. You'll just drive yourself crazy, and you just want to go in here and just draw these lines. Here's a black piece. I do want to pick up this piece here. Boop, 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 boom. Here we go. And we're going to come down here. And I need to probably, so that'll be one piece. So we're going to work around the eye here. Little tiny, don't even see the lines here. Round we go. Oh, I'm gonna go around this one whole piece here. And around this eye here. Here I go around here. And you can turn this around, make it easier for you to. So you get the idea of what I'm going to do. I'm going to time lapse the rest of this drawing so you can see how I go about it. Okay, so here we are, and I had finished the drawing from the micron pen all over the portrait, and I will put the white paper underneath so you can actually see the drawing. As you can see, I put in a lot more detail than I originally had planned, but depending on the fabric that I choose, I can I can not put in so much of this detail, but we'll see. Now, the next step will be to go over to the Kinko or FedEx or wherever copy place that you go to, and we are going to have them give us an 8 by 10 of this drawing, just on black and white paper. That way we can have something to look at, because in a future video you'll see how we use that copy. We will also ask them to blow up this photo into a 20 by 24 enlargement onto architect paper. Now, this should cost you between $9 and $12, depending. Sometimes they will charge you a service fee, sometimes they don't. It just depends on how they're feeling that day, I suppose. So, once we get that enlargement, I will show you the next process. For my 6-hour class, all of this will be done beforehand, and you will have the finished product of the 20 by 24 enlargement on architect paper, and we will start from there. Okay, so I went to Kinko's and had them blow up the tracing of the great owl, and I had them blow it up onto architectural paper. This paper, when it was complete, it's a standard size, because if you get outside of standard size, they charge you $8 additional. So I just regular size, and it was 16 by 20. And I work on this wool pad. This wool pad measures 36 by 24, and I purchased it on Amazon. I don't need the wool pad, I just really like using the wool pad. Pin this down onto my wool mat, and I'm going to place the parchment paper right over it. And as you can see the design clearly through the parchment paper. And the reason why you want to work with parchment paper instead of directly onto this is because we are going to be fusing as we're going, and the fuse will stick to the paper, but it will not stick to the parchment paper. So I'm going to pin it down along on the side so nothing rolls up and everything stays still as I work. So now we're going to lay down the parchment paper and just start tracing. There's the one line, and I'm going to do the outside line. And for this owl, I have decided to keep the colors realistic to the photo. I'm not going to do any unrealistic colors with this piece, but I will make a second one and use different kinds of colors. I was thinking blues and purples and really bring out those orange. That will be my second one, and I will show you that one when I'm done with this one. Okay, so now that we have these traced, I will pick my fabric. So now I'm going to choose the fabric colors. And for this piece, I am going to be using the natural colors that we see in the photograph. I can see the oranges and the brown kind of grays, darker browns, maybe even black, obviously the yellow of the eyes. So those are the fabric colors that I'm going to be choosing. When choosing the fabrics, I'll see that this centerpiece is lighter than the outside piece. So I take that into consideration when choosing. So this one I'm going to use for the center, and this piece I'm going to use for the outside. So you can see it's lighter on the darker. Keeping in mind when you are choosing fabrics for an animal, you want to avoid fabrics like this. It has lines on it, and it doesn't follow the natural contours of the animal. It kind of, it's too straight. You're not going to like the end result with something like this. I also avoid big design pieces like this. Unless the owl was bigger, I could probably use something like this, but since this owl is so small, I'm going to try to avoid the bigger patterned pieces like this and like this and like this. I'm not going to be using any of these. Choices that I do like would be something like this. It's got the black and these small colors, even though that they're varied. I do like how this fabric turns out on animals. I've used it before. This one I like because it's tonal, so it's got designs on it, but it's tonal, so it's like black on black. So that one I would use, and I would use this one. I use this one a lot, especially for dog noses. It does end up working well. And you can see that the designs are very, very small in this fabric. And same thing with this one. I would use this one as well because they're small and it doesn't distract from what you're trying to create. Okay, so now I have my two pieces. I take my paper cutting scissors, which are these, and I'm going to cut these out. Nothing too precise here, just cutting these out. I like to save these because I'll use it again for smaller pieces. I put parchment paper down on my surface that I'm going to iron, just to protect my wool pad from the Misty fuse, because the Misty fuse is very sticky and can get everywhere if you're not being careful. So I like to protect everything with parchment paper. Like I said, it does not stick to the parchment paper. Now this one I will cut out very loosely from this shape. I'm gonna try to, yeah, I'm not gonna really fussy cut this. I'm gonna cut this out like this. And I'm gonna cut this like that. Okay. Now, because this is the top, and I'm going to lay this top on this as I fuse it, but as you can see, you can barely see the line. So what I do is I will write the word top on my top part, and I will retrace the shape so that way I could see it as I'm cutting it out on once it's fused on the black fabric. So top. And the reason why I write the word top is because you might inadvertently switch it over, cut out your piece, and then you realize you cut it backwards and it doesn't fit onto your project. I've done it many times. It's frustrating. Okay, so now I cut out my Misty fuse. I don't need it that much, just a little bit. Here, cut it out. And I'll cut out this piece here. Put my Misty fuse away. Now I'm gonna go put the top side up, see, top side up. Lay my Misty fuse on top there, and then put my fabric, and the fabric is right side up. And again, I could put parchment paper down. Lots of parchment paper in this project. And it's just to protect your iron, your surface, so nothing sticks. So you lift it up, and now you can see clearly the design, the shape I'm going to cut out. I'll do the same thing with this one. Top side up, Misty fuse, then my fabric right side up. Iron, doesn't take that much time. Okay, and now I got this piece. So I take my little scissors that I love so much. Oh, you can see that I did not get all the shape on this fabric. So easy fix, peel it back off, reposition it like so, re-iron it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it sticks, and now everything is on. That happens a lot too. It's not that big of a deal. I'm going to cut out my beak, the black side first. And And I'll do this shading one too. All right. Now, then you peel off the back. Lay it directly down like that. Peel off the back. And lay it down like that. Okay. And you can just double check, make sure that the placement's right. I think that's about right. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. Now, if you're satisfied with these two pieces being on top of each other, go ahead and you can fuse it down. If not, you want to like reposition or, you know, move it around a little bit, that's okay. The only reason why I like to fuse as I go along is because I don't like things to move around too much on me. So I'll just, well, like that. And so now these two pieces are fused, and as you can see, they don't stick down onto the parchment paper. Now you can see that I did not do the nostrils, so I'll do the nostrils next. Then I'll trace it on the other side because the nostrils, you know, I usually just use a just black fabric. So I got my black fabric. And as you can see, I have lots of scraps. This is a scrappy project. So if you got lots of scraps, this is perfect for you. Get my little Misty fuse. I only need a small section. So top, then the right side of the fabric goes down. Get rid of this. Put my parchment paper down. Fuse. And now we're going to cut these out. And see how small these pieces can be? And you would normally think, oh, I can't do something this small, this detailed, but you really can. These scissors make it easy. I also work with these tweezers. That makes the job a lot easier too. Peel these off. There's one nostril. There's two nostrils. Put that nostril here. Put that nostril here. Okay, and I'm gonna fuse it down. So now I'm going to show you how to do the shapes that are overlapping, because this is one on top of another, but this you can see that these will overlap, and I will show you how you trace out those shapes. Keep in mind when you are choosing your fabric colors, if something is symmetrical, I will keep the fabric colors the same on both sides. So I'm not going to use a different fabric for this and a different fabric for that. It will make it look more even. Okay, so now this is going to be one piece. Like that. Now it goes all the way over here, so go whoop all the way to the other side. And over here. Okay, and top. I'm going to trace it again on the other side. So got that traced out. Cut it out. I already cut this out. This is the bottom part of his beak here. And I am going to use a black and white for this one. So I'll cut it out here. And normally I don't use paper scissors for my fabric cutting, but it does not have to be precise. We're just looking for coverage here. So you can see it just covers. And now I'm going to cut out my Misty fuse. Again, this does not have to be precise, just enough for coverage. Like this, like that. So it goes top, Misty Fuse. I think I'll flip it over, better coverage. Top, Misty Fuse, and then fabric, like that. Take it over to my ironing place. Lay down my parchment paper. Okay. I'll take my little detail scissors and start cutting this out. I will speed this along, but I wanted to show you when you're cutting out these small, you move the fabric, not the scissors so much. The scissors keep going up and down, open and close, but when you're doing these small areas, you move this fabric around. Just like when you're a kid cutting out paper hearts or something. Oh, I got this cut out. I removed the parchment paper from the back. Okay, so let's start layering this. So this goes here. See? Then his lips, or his beak. I keep calling them lips. The bottom of his beak here, that hard bill. And then the top of his beak goes here. Layer it down. And voila, fits perfect. And then I will fuse it all down. So all my pieces are fused together. And as you can see, once it's fused, the fabric is fused, but it lifts right off. So I will continue working on this, and I will do a time lapse from here on out. Okay, so I picked out my background fabric, and this particular fabric was printed for me. I really do love this effect here with the vignette in the corner. You can see that I did start some quilting, and what I used was a stencil for the corners using my Madame So pen that is removed with heat. I put the stencil down, I draw with my pen, and then I take it to the machine and sew it. I did it to all 3 corners. Obviously this corner has the owl in it, and then these lines I just kind of drew in to connect them all. So this is just freehand sewing. So and now when I start sewing the owl, I'm going to free motion all around the edges and going inside here as well. And I will show this technique to you using time-lapse video. Well, I hope you enjoyed making this collaged art quilt. You can apply this knowledge to any portrait, be it animal or people or places. All you need is a photo, trace it, and create it.